I'll just further add to that argument about prophets. So back when these prophets came to Earth, the population on Earth was shitloads smaller, perhaps even less than 1 million, right? So everything that the prophets came to Earth with, like divine wisdom and knowledge and morality and conduct, code of conduct sort of stuff, and information about afterlife, information about the science of the Earth, okay, and positive messages for like unity and invitation for ceremony in one's life, you know, when you just step out of your life and just fucking praise and like worship like just divinity itself, like just and the miracle of life, which is like what prayer is. It made sense that God only sent down one person at a time, each time. And it made sense for those prophets to say that it made sense for the prophets to say things like, there will be one more of me being born again. It was better for us as people to believe that just one prophet was coming back then, because if the prophet said something else, such as there'll be a race of prophets coming when the world desperately needs prophet, because that would have been not great for people to believe, because syndicates and ruling classes come in a fucking group of elite oppressors. So if you're joining a group of like sensationalists who like rule us, we stray from the flock and the goodness and the innocence, and get, you know, corrupted by the agenda and the ideology. And it also would have been more helpful for humans to shrink their deities to just one main deity, because my understanding is that there are fake gods who claim to be God, or who claim to preach God's message and claim to be this amazing holy healer person, or claim to have direct communication with God, that sometimes like show themselves as groups. So it wouldn't have been good for us to believe that a race of prophets would be coming in the future. But now we fast forward to this timeline, and the world is a lot bigger than what it was, like billions of people, a lot bigger. So it would make sense that like during the big population boom time, God wouldn't send just one prophet back, because they always said there'd be one. Muhammad was the last one they just had, the prophet, and there'll be one more. It would make sense if God sent down that one prophet line into like a group of people or race or whatever, much larger percentage than just one person, just because of the dynamics of the population on Earth. Secondly, what was it before I forget? Just gone over 3 minutes, I have to go on my YouTube. Oh yes, and one of the reasons why it's such an important message that Islam reiterates is that save your worship and praise and acknowledgement and prayer time for just one God, Creator God, who there can be no other like Him, who can't be explained by words, who's the creator and inventor of the universe, that something doesn't come out of nothing. Evidence of this providing in the Quran. It made sense for him to say one God and one prophet at that time, because we were all sort of getting strayed with all these like fake deities and things like that, and doing like, you know, freaky sacrifice rituals, and then there was like other beings living here on Earth that we were getting mistaken for God, and then there's apparently like this fallen angel race, the Nephilim, and then all of this sort of confusing stuff going on, that to just simplify it for the people to unite together under one ideology, was safer for us back then. And they also banned magical practices and occultism for the purpose of keeping people safe from entity interference, like jinn, okay? pretending to be angels, pretending to be gods, and fucking with humans, and infiltrating, and shit like this, okay? Before I move on to another subject, I'm just trying to think, is there one more thing that I've left out regarding this? I mean, obviously, I believe in the prophets. Oh yes, one thing, that's right. The minute you start separating or categorizing God or analyzing him from a scientific perspective, and or break him up into three parts, like the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, and promising people that we could, like, become like Jesus ourselves one day, shit like that. The moment you do that to God, you make something that's a whole lot more complicated than what it actually is. And complicated with more moving parts doesn't mean better. Sometimes it's better to go back to the original source. Okay, like comparing Gillette electronic razor with all these little heads and dynamic little blades and electricity added and smooth face, or going to the barber and getting a clean cut with one, sharp knife. Both do the same job, but it originated from one source. So what the Christians did is they broke up God into three parts. That's already making it convoluted, and it's also telling people that because there's three other aspects of God, they're more likely to believe in an institution and evil priests, that they are the voice piece of God. So Christians have actually corrupted God and God's message and tried to say that God could be born in a human being. God's not born in a human being. God's God. We'll never understand the true complexity nature of the divine creator. What turns me off a little bit about Islam, but I'm trying to see it from a perspective of, not of a Muslim, of I'll leave that for another video.